underwater video camera housings and lightings provided by Equinox Video Housings, the exclusive leader in underwater video housings for the professional, leisure, and sport divers.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Talking Scuba. I am Bob Shoemaker.
And I'm Jim Norton.
We are everybody's favorite diving show where we discuss everything from cold, deep wrecks to shallow, warm reefs and everything else in between. Today we have a very exciting episode. We are discussing one of our really good trips we took over the winter.
Oh yeah, went down to Chicago's Our World Underwater. Had a great time.
Yeah, we got to do some really cool interviews with a lot of interesting guests. Today is a very interesting show. We talked with a pretty cool guy from Whale Wars.
Oh yeah, the Sea Shepherds. That is tremendously interesting interview we got.
Yeah, we got to talk to Laurens DeGroot, who he's actually an old police officer who got into investigating wildlife crimes and things like that. He's a really, really interesting guy. And he was actually one of the guys that was there when the Ady Gil was struck by that Japanese whaling ship.
And I see Johnny got some footage of that. It's really kind of, what an adventure.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. We'll check out that interview we did with Lorenz. It's pretty interesting. Hey everybody, and we're here at Our World Underwater with Laurens DeGroot from the Sea Shepherd Society. He's also, you can see him on Whale Wars as well. Now you started out as a policeman in the Netherlands, correct?
Correct. I worked on the streets for about 5 years, and after that I started specializing in organized crime, and I became a crime investigator. And my specialty became environmental crimes, so trade in endangered species, illegal waste dump, stuff like that. And that's when I kind of got into the oceans and what's happening there. And, it was like as soon as a ship leaves port, it gets into the wild, wild west. There's all those laws and treaties, but there's no one actually upholding the law. So I was like, man, I need to do something about it. Started looking online, found Sea Shepherd and said, bam, that's what I want to do. And gave up my job, sold everything I had, packed my bags and went to the ship.
So you moved all the way down. You were living in the Netherlands. You moved all the way to what, Australia? Is that where you started there?
I left for Australia, and I got there and, just said, okay, here I am. Can I help? And I want to join you guys.
And then you were working on, was it the Steve Irwin?
Yeah, my first year was 3 years ago. I was on the Steve Irwin. I started off as a deckhand. I actually never been on the ocean before. So my first voyage out on sea was going from Australia to Antarctica. So that was a pretty intense voyage. But started off as a deckhand and then became a smallboat navigator. And last year I was in the Ady Gil.
So just going back, you guys had just originally you just had the Steve Irwin, and then you brought on a second ship, which was the Bob Barker, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, well, about 5 years ago we had two vessels, which was a Farley Mowat and a Steve Irwin. Farley Mowat was a really old ship from the 50s, so we could only use that like one time. Then the year after that we went with one vessel, and after that we got a donation from TV host Bob Barker, and we got the Ady Gil. And so we went down with 3 ships, which was an enormous success for us.
And then the Ady Gil, it's a really unique ship. It's a tri-hulled one. I think they used to navigate the world in a really like a record pace or something like that. And then you guys were able to get that ship through Pete Bethune, I think.
Well, yeah, it was a vessel that in 60 days it circumnavigated the globe, which meant that it was faster than a harpoon vessel, so we could really use it. And Pete, who set the record, he approached us and says, "Hey, I want to help you guys out. Do you want the ship?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this ship looks badass. So yeah, we'll take it and take it down there." And we finally had a ship that was faster than the harpoon vessels.
So then you guys could kind of navigate around them and kind of cause a little bit of trouble with them and kind of keep them off the tail of some of the other ships.
Yeah, and one of our primary goals was actually to scout. So just find the fleet, and as soon as we would have found the fleet, then try to stop those, slow down the harpoon vessels so they couldn't catch up with the Steve Irwin or the Bob Barker to follow them and lay back the position of our vessels.
And then during that same season, when you guys were down there in Antarctica, you ended up having a little bit of trouble aboard the Ady Gil.
Is that the trouble you mean by being rammed? Or
yeah. I mean the ship being cut in half.
Just engine trouble, because we had that as well on our trip. But yeah, the ship got cut in half by one of the harpoon vessels, and we were low on fuel. We wanted to head back to port, and all the ships were passing. And at the last moment, one of the harpoon. This is the short story. Yeah. One of the harpoon vessels turned to starboard side, and we couldn't avoid it anymore. And we had a collision, and the ship got rammed in two and sunk in Antarctica.
So were you guys able to recover anything off of that, or it was just down and out, right?
Yeah, well, at first, you do the Mayday call, you get everything, and then we found out that the outriggers were still okay, so we were kept afloat, so we were able to take most of our personal belongings off, passports, and the jet ski that we were going to use later on in the campaign as well. But we lost a lot of stuff as well, because where the ship ran, that was actually where we had our private belongings, so I lost a lot of my stuff.
Oh. Now we mentioned Pete Bethune before, and he ended up getting himself onto one of the other whaling ships and was then arrested by the Japanese, correct?
Yeah, correct. And they took him back to prison, and he got convicted for all kind of rubbish claims that charges they put on him, and eventually he got 2 years probation when 5 years not allowed in the country. So that's how it ended with Pete.
Okay, and then now he's back here, or at least free, and is he still working for Sea Shepherd?
No, he's not involved with Sea Shepherd anymore. He started his own conservation society, and he's back in New Zealand, I believe.
What do you see? I know you guys had a really big success this week. Tell us first about that, and then we'll keep going.
Yeah, so we found a replacement vessel for the Ady Gil, which is the Gojira, and it's Gojira means Japan for Godzilla. So it was kind of a nice symbolic name for that vessel. And we had the Bob Barker and the Steve Irwin. So this year, because the whalers are losing more and more money, they could only afford to send 4 vessels. Previous years it was 8 vessels. So and they started later in the season. So they left early December, and they got to Antarctica about the end of December, and we found them the day they ended the whale sanctuary. So that was a great success for us, and we were able to, we lost them a few days, but most of the days we were able to follow them and block that slipway, so they couldn't transfer any whales onto the flensing deck of the factory vessel, and that meant that we cut down they haven't not been able to catch about 10% of their quota. So they're losing so much money that the government probably has said, okay, there's no use for us staying there. And for the first time in history, they said we've given up because of the work that Sea Shepherd is doing. We're going back home. We're going back to port. And we won.
So that's a really excellent. Do you see what might be happening in the future with that? I mean, is it pretty much, you think this is their final hurrah, or will they be back next season? Do you know?
No, we're always skeptical. Like, I think they will look for ways that they want to come back. They want to hunt their whales, and as long as the international community is not doing anything to really stop them from hunting those whales, they might try to go back. But we're getting stronger, and more people are supporting us, so we'll go out there no matter what. So we're going to stop them.
That sounds great. Now beyond stopping the whaling, you guys also work on other projects as well, right?
Yeah, we have a permanent office in the Galapagos Islands because, like Paul Watson said, that is our line in the sand. If we can't protect one of the most beautiful areas, that was, Darwin wrote his evolution theory on those islands, and so we need to protect that. So that we have a permanent office, but we also did a Mediterranean campaign this year and back in Europe to protect bluefin tuna. Okay. Bluefin tuna is almost extinct, and we went in the waters there, and we found poachers that were dragging a school of bluefin tuna back to land to fatten up and sell them in Japan. So we went in the water, cut open the nets, and we rescued over 800 bluefin tunas. And yeah, that's amazing stuff as well. And then we do the Faroe Islands, Taiji. So we got a couple of campaigns going.
So you guys are really being able to attack all these different poachers and people that are really doing a lot of harm to our oceans, which as divers, we are really in love with. So we really appreciate what you guys are doing. Lorenz, we really want to thank you for coming out and spending some time with us today. Talking Scuba really appreciates it. We hope to talk to you guys soon, and hopefully that's the end of Japanese whaling seasons.
Awesome. I'd love to see that. And yeah, we can use all the support that we can get. So if you can go to www.seashepherd.org and support us, that'd be awesome.
All right. Thanks, Laurens. Cool. So it was really cool talking to Lorenz DeGroot from Whale Wars. That was cool.
It was. What an adventure.
Yeah, he has some really interesting stories, and I know you guys can check out the new episodes on Animal Planet and everything else that is coming out right now. So check that stuff out, Whale Wars on the Animal Planet.
Sounds great.
And we also got some very exciting news.
Very exciting news. Really excited about this.
Yeah, we've got Equinox Housings is one of our newest sponsors, so welcome aboard, Equinox. We are very excited to have you guys with us now. And we actually went down there to Galesburg and talked with Ed Richards, who is the CEO of Equinox Housings, and we were able to do a little interview with him.
You got some good information on the housings and how they operate?
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in shooting underwater video, we definitely, not just because they're a sponsor, but because it's high quality materials and high quality equipment, Equinox Housings. You can go to their website, check them out, and listen to the interview we did with Ed. He's got a lot of good information about why their equipment is superior to some of the other stuff. So,
And it's all made in America.
yes, most of it is made in America. The only exception, I think, is the LCD screen, but everything else is made here in America. It's great.
You betcha.
Let's check that out. Hey everybody, we're down here in Galesburg, Michigan, talking to the owner of Equinox Housings, Ed Richards. Hi Ed, how you doing today?
Good. Yourself?
Oh, not too bad. How did you guys get started here building these housings?
Well, actually, Equinox has been around for about 17 years. It's been, local in southern Michigan, in the Kalamazoo, Portage, and, Galesburg area. And I've taken ownership about 6 years ago and just continued to grow it, pretty well since then.
Now tell us a little bit about what separates your housing from some of the other housings.
Yeah, with our housings, one of the big advantages is like the cost factor. We try to keep everything low for the cost to pass on to our consumers. And with our package, when you buy our housing versus some of our competitors, we include like a wide angle lens for the camera. We include the dome port. We include like a spare parts kit. We have a 3-year warranty, that comes along with it. And we are the only manufacturer that offers a retrofit program. So if you, send in, or have us make a camera for you now that's comes out tomorrow or is 10 years old, whenever you're done with that model, you can send in, your HD6 or Pro 6 unit, and we'll do a retrofit for you to fit the new camera model.
How is the buoyancy on these housings?
When we design our housing, we design them to be neutral in the water, and that's due to the placement of the wings on the housing and our ballast release system. So our weighting system on our housings, on our the 6 models, are actually in the wings themselves. So if you pull this off, you can feel the weight right there. That would release. And the way we designed this was for 2 reasons. One, for safety, kind of like pulling your integrated weights out of your BCD. Now this would become positive and shoot to the surface, notifying anybody or just saying, hey, something's going on because we see a housing and, no divers. And 2, it breaks down for easy travel.
Now, you guys' housings have some special add-on features that you can get as well.
Yes, our systems come complete out of the box, but we always recommend to our customers to have the 2.5-inch LCD. It has its own self-contained battery, its own power source. It's on-off switch, LCD shade, and that comes with the connectors for your camera and plugs in through the AV port, and then it just transfers the images, gives you a nice, sharp, crisp image right to the back.
So you have the LCD systems, but you also have other accessory systems that you can get, such as lights.
Correct. We can accommodate any light system that you currently own or are looking to buy. With our light arm adapter, it slides over our handle onto the wing, tightens down, and you're good to go.
I know some of the housings out there, they're made out of different metals and things like that, but you guys have a different approach to it and what your materials you guys are using.
Yes, we use like a thermal base polyvinyl carbonate and stainless steel products, like a high-grade stainless steel. All of our components for like the housing are made in the United States. Sometimes the cost for that is a little more expensive, but I like to keep things, in the United States as much as possible when it comes to building a product. Many of the items or components themselves are made right here in Michigan, and most all the rest will be, made in like the local, tri-state area. We have like the acrylic domes, the polyvinyl carbonate, and all like the stainless steel. And like rubber feet, but it makes for a good strong housing. We have like a tubular shape housing, which allows the water to have, it's equally, like the pressure itself is equally dispersed off there, so you're not getting any angles, where it's hitting in one and putting a lot more pressure on the housing. Our housings are really easy to use in light currents because, when you're moving them from side to side, the current just coming up and flowing over instead of catching and dragging and pulling, so that's, one of the advantages you have to going with one of our housings.
Now you got a consumer grade camera in here that you're using, but you guys do everything up through pro level stuff and higher government stuff even.
Yes, we we're the only manufacturer in the world that can make one for any handheld camera, like consumer model. We do all the prosumers cameras, and we do professional models as well, and we do special projects. We do a lot that we can't talk about, and we do a lot that we can. But anything you can basically want done in sunken water, we can pretty much do it for you, even if it's not for a camera.
Hey Ed, I really appreciate you giving a talk today and telling us a little bit about your housings, and I also want to welcome you on as one of our new sponsors. So thanks a lot. Yeah. That was cool talking with Ed and going down there to Galesburg and seeing what they do and seeing their whole operation. Is pretty interesting.
Oh, very interesting. A real high quality product too.
And well, now Jim, I've been noticing you got a pretty good tan going.
Oh, that sailboat does it to me all the time.
You're spending way too much above water time.
Oh, I try to split it up as much as I can.
Well, yeah, it is summer here in Michigan, so we get our time to spend out on the water, whether it is sailing or scuba diving or enjoying a beverage or whatever the case might be. But we're just really excited to have you guys with us for this episode. We also have future episodes we're going to talk about real quick. You did an interview with a pretty cool diver, Lee Bishop.
Lee Bishop, my gosh, he has some of the best photos you ever want to look at, and they're deep wreck photos. They're great.
Yeah, Lee was real interesting. I just watched from the sidelines as you were doing that interview. It was pretty cool listening to his stories, and he's quite a comical guy too.
Oh, he is. He's quite a card.
So we have a lot more of stuff for you guys to look forward to. We've got Lee Bishop, Stan Waterman, John Chatterton, and plus a bunch more dive footage. So special thanks to Ed at Equinox Housings, as well as our good buddy Laurens DeGroot from Whale Wars. So we hope to see you guys next week here on Talking Scuba.
Take care, and to the next dive.
To the next dive.
Your size of it.
Yeah, we're ready when you are, guy.
All right.
Okay, what are we gonna do here? We're in Chicago at Our World Underwater.
Our World Underwater. That was a good time.
It was a very good time. Is he gonna be able to hear that?
Yeah. I guess you're gonna start all over again.
Somebody just sent me, enjoyed meeting you last night.
Ellen.
I didn't meet anybody last night. Okay, so besides the LCDs, you guys have some other accessories like light systems that you can get for your housing as well.